for DOA. The judge did the exact same thing that they did the other day and read a whole statement. And if you guys look at my notes, the description inside of my live here, you'll see some of the notes that she made and how bogus they were. So we're outside right now. Here's Mr. DOA. Oh, her details are unbelievable. She did that with Danny, the exact same thing. She did the exact same thing with Danny, gave all those details and just broke it down. And I love how she just kept, Moxin, shut up. You know, basically, you're not going to file an extension right now. Yeah. Yeah, and congratulations on doing this yourself.
Excellent.
You know, what a task that you took underneath yourself and be able to support yourself like this. Beautiful.
And I thought I did so horrible, and there's so much I could have improved.
The truth prevails.
Yeah.
The truth prevails. Yeah, this is such a moment with all the protesters here with DOA supporting him and being here today. It was just a huge victory once again. The judge gave such an incredible detail of why everything was bogus and why his client said one thing one time and said another thing another time. It was absolutely beautiful how she classically ripped them apart. And once again, when we first got in there, Moxin tried to get an extension because during Danny's case, when we left, he felt like we were threatening them and attacking them in the hallway, and we were just so abused. Oh my God, Your Honor, you should have seen what happened. I need an extension to be able to talk about this further. Come on, you guys. Another win, our third win. Hello, you guys, don't sit down, don't roll over. Fight it to the end. You know, Scientology we know is corrupt, and once again, the judge, the laws are proving it right over and over and over. Justice prevails. It's absolutely unbelievable. We love being here today, giving our support as protesters, being here physically, and reporting to you live here at the courthouse today. It was just brilliant.
But that's a gag, G-A-D, gadfly. Yeah, somebody who's, if you look up gadfly in the dictionary, look it up. All right. It's gonna say
Gagfly, they're talking about gagfly.
I was called that. I've never heard that. Yeah, I was actually called that in the article. So gadfly. A person who stimulates or annoys other people, especially by persistent criticism.
Oh.
Do you annoy yourself to Scientology by the persistent criticism?
Absolutely.
And then you test boundaries?
Yeah, that's definitely a gray area.
Yeah, I mean,
That's First Amendment. I love it. So you just see, once again, you guys, justice prevails, and you know, this young kid, I don't know where they picked him out of. He was a security guard. And another thing the judge pointed out was at one point, the kid said that he wasn't part of Scientology, yet she said it's been shown in videos that he was driving a Scientology van and he was potentially participating in Scientology events. So once again, the consistent words that were coming out of his mouth were not consistent. The judge, once again, as she did the other day in Danny, just piece by piece tore it down and pointed it out, and at the very end, once again, Moxin was like, oh, I know, no, and she says, she thought about it for a second, she goes, no, it's over. So once again, another victory for the protesters who are out here on their feet battling the Scientology chaos bullshit And it's just another wonderful day, you guys. I'm going to sneak in here.
It was horrible. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, I love her. She's great.
I am
Yeah.
proud that so much of the sidewalk issue and the street issue and the access to the street issue is on record in the decision from the judge. And that's really what we've been fighting, is that access to L. Ron Hubbard Way, our public road, and the public side. Not only that, but also the public sidewalks and easements. Those are our spots. This is where we can protest, and that's the bigger picture of what the restraining order is about. Even though it's specific and real petty at a very small level, she just made some big, huge rulings that we need Danny streets. We can have litigation against them for that.
Yep.
And that could also include some type of emergency injunctions or injunctions on them from protesters, and could be very well paying, and or possibly some type of other criminal case because of the testimony of doctoring evidence, not only in my case but in Danny's case too. In Danny's case, they they said that Moxin was coaching the witness, and that the witness was looking over and trying to get a response from their counsel. So that's clearly them coaching their witnesses.
Yep.
So you have that, and then you have mine where they actually edited it, and they edited Danny's video when he came up to when they came up to the scooter guy. He sped that up so it appeared to be faster than what it actually was. If you speed it up, it looks like a lot more aggressive.
Yep.
And that wasn't the case.
That was really weird that they sped it up.
Yeah, and Dorothy made a great objection saying that, that's sped up. So that's
Scooter guy had too many Red Bulls in the morning, right?
Yeah, no, he lied.
Yep.
And said that he hadn't had any interaction with protesters when you had that interaction with him where he was standing behind you creeping around.
Well, he tried to run me over. He
Yeah.
tried to run me over, and that was my very first day doing a live, and then I thought he was drunk. I was like, what is wrong with this old guy on this scooter?
Yeah.
And then that's when all of a sudden I came up against him, and he was standing at the stair going, why don't you guys go get a real job?
Yeah, and now we
Hi,
have
baby.
the Church of Scientology working together.
How's it going?
Good, how
in
you
these
doing?
different cases.
Good.
Still waking myself up.
Huge.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just me or Dan.
And losing in all these cases.
And losing all these
You know what
cases.
stood out to me is
It's the
judge
truth.
made reference to what they're attempting to do was like in government overreach. What do you think about that? Because it seems like what they're trying to do is violate your First Amendment rights.
Yeah.
So she specifically mentioned government overreach.
I don't remember that part.
I know.
I was
Oh my
watching
God.
the transcriber. The transcriber had a short keyboard thing.
Right, so you're watching.
And she turned the screen so I could watch it. So I was watching her write the record of what was being said.
Oh, you have a copy of that tonight?
Yeah, and I love that the judge read all the things about my dirty mouth, and then said that if you're gonna hit the pussy, you punk bitch.
Right?
And she said that was the credibly testified that was Tupac Shakur song.
I love that.
That made me feel I was trying to keep it all like comfortable and not like moving around. And
The judge said he's a liar. The judge said Jaden's a liar. The judge said that you're credible.
Once again, just yay, baby.
I love it. She's been supporting and helping me so much and getting me looking somewhat presentable because I'm a little feral here. So.
I love that you have the cake in the case.
Yeah, where were you hiding the case at?
In my case, that's the only thing I had in my case was my case.
As soon as he won,
I was like, there's no reason to bring anything.
Right.
She's just reading it. And I was like, I'm putting my cape on before I turn around. I'm putting my cape on in court. I want to turn around with my cape.
I love it. I love it.
Showing evidence anymore.
How do you feel?
Okay, whatever.
You feel relieved?
I feel like I was a little teary-eyed in the courtroom, and then I was like laughing, and then I was teary-eyed. It was like up and down.
Were you scared at first?
Yeah, the whole morning. I was like very much.
We
very
were
much
both.
no,
Yeah.
no, like don't go talk to your chat. I was like, go make a joke over
Were you
there.
worried? You were worried?
Yeah, I was, because like the justice system has fucked kids over in Scientology for so long, and it's ruined our families. And Moxin has ruined his own family. And look at him. It's like it's we're lucky if we get out mentally. Like, I don't know how I got out, but now that I'm out, I'm like, holy fuck, I'm never doing that again. And so like Moxin is just like, it's so scary to think, oh yeah, the justice system is gonna screw us. I was like, literally, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna think like, oh, we're gonna win, and it's gonna screw us.
Well, he just beat Moxin. What do you
I
think
know.
about that?
So
He just kicked Moxon's ass.
like,
You're not a
so
lawyer. You're not a
bad.
trained lawyer. He's a trained
You're
lawyer.
a trained lawyer, but
And you
And
beat
he did
him.
it without
And,
a
and,
lawyer,
and
that's
beat him
also
badly,
what
right?
upset me. I was like, did he not do something right? Like Dorothy, like really. So I don't know, the way things worked out with Dorothy doing her case and then the judge, doing everything after that. It made it a little better, but then that's the PTSD from childhood as children. And
Yep.
Moxin just sits on this shit, like engraving it in the legal system. Like, we're going, oh God, the judge is gonna fuck us, and be like, nope. That's why it's like, I'm like, I barely can even like laugh and celebrate. And be
Things are
happy
changing.
because I'm so angry.
I know that things are changing.
Things are changing.
the tide
Come
is
on,
changing.
even the bail of
And it's
appeal
because you
even
guys
gave
protesting
away.
are out there on the ground doing this out there
Yeah,
on the
give
ground.
a
It's the
little hand,
protesters
a little
that are
gesture.
really pushing this matter, and it's making a change. I love it.
I'm just like, and I love that. Like, I was like listening, I was laughing because there's so much like details, and it's like, yeah, like the judge repeating the toolbox song, and like the whole shit we did and everything happening, and like Tupac was literally saying shit and being like, fuck you, I'm not gonna be a part of this shit. I do my own life, but I'm not gonna be a bad person, And literally just so full circle, like, wow, look at this, like. And how the judge gave Moxin 0.
Nothing.
Literally, like.
That was an ass whooping.
And saying, you fucking edited footage.
Yeah.
When you bring shit to the court with its full truth.
Yeah.
You don't come here with your agenda.
Yeah.
And that's what he did the whole time. And that's what Scientology does all the time.
Right.
Is go in with their agenda of how they're going to fuck you. Like Danny, they try to get rid of his visa, send him out of the US. What the fuck? That's how you know what we're doing is effective.
Yep.
You guys didn't get a
They're
chance to
doing
look
the
over.
work.
Did you look over at Moxin after you?
I didn't even look.
He was just slumping
I
in his
didn't-
seat. He was
I-
so defeated.
Well, because then he tried to say something at the very end, like, I need a. She's like, she thought about it. She's like, nope.
I
looking
thought
like
she
he
was
was
gonna say
ridiculous.
I thought she was gonna say if you interrupt, if you fucking question me again, what? But I think she held it together. Like
She did
I my
great at
ruling,
being-
And that is that. I'm moving
Yeah.
on to other important cases.
Yeah,
Like he's such a waste of fucking.
she was completely fair on both parties.
Yeah, she was. That's why I was.
And like
afraid,
Streets was saying, he was saying that she was making sure that it's not appealable. That she gave him every opportunity to correct and make a record.
And that's why she went and she said, I find this credible. I find what Jaden was saying was not credible. She went to that point by point, and that's to make it appeal proof. And she was meticulous. Every single, she knows how these people love to live.
Yep.
She knows they're going to try to appeal, but it'll never happen.
Yeah.
You won't get anywhere.
And she did the same with Dan.
Yeah.
She did the same thing. It seems like she was stern because, she gave them a lot of leeway, but she gave them a lot of leeway so they can't say something was done wrong from a procedural standpoint.
Yeah, and I did feel a little bit of that in the case when she was like, I was going to call Lara and Tori to the stand, and she said it's not. She basically said it was not needed, and I didn't want to push the issue.
Yeah.
Like Moxon was pushing the issue
Constantly.
and a lot of times in
She
court.
said something very clear, like, I understand, that's not necessary. She said, I understand the exact reason why you're protesting. And when she said that, I was like, that's sounding clear.
I know, it was
I
really
think
good.
yeah, she said that. She said, I understand the exact reason that you're protesting. She didn't need me or Tori to go up. That she was already, she probably, Judge calling Scully
and
out there.
she called it theater art. That theater.
I love that. I love that.
I've said that a few times. also mentioned the whole paid actor thing that the trolls always want to talk about, and she recognized that it was satire to the whole George Soros paying protesters.
She mentioned that.
She mentioned that in the court record. So I thought that was pretty cool to have that all on record, the Tupac thing, these little...
That's the other thing.
She's brilliant. She's sharp. She's sharp.
And for me and Serge, we love dancing and singing and performing, and I love that she just caught his character as being a charismatic, theatrical kind of guy in the way that he protests. And I was like, yes, there's the fucking freedom of art and being who the fuck you want. You can't control people. You can't be like, this is how you have to be when you're in this area. No.
She values, it's clear she values freedom of speech.
Yeah, whether we like it
I
or
think
not.
it's important to also recognize something else, right? This courthouse right here, Stanley Mosque, there's not often that there's a crowd of people standing around outside after a court case.
Right.
This is high profile. They
Yep.
understand that this is high profile. And so because of that, she's going to make sure that it's meticulous.
Yeah.
She knows that this is going to get attention. And so because of that, like I said, it may have
I was
seemed like
ready
she
to
was
fight.
stern
Like,
at
that's
the beginning
why I
of
was
giving
not
them a lot
sure.
of
I was
leeway,
ready to be
but she was just doing that, make sure that to protect her own decision. But my
Yeah.
question to you is, like I said, Moxin, he's got a Wikipedia page, he's been studying, practicing law for decades, not very good, but at least he's been doing it. How do you feel that, not only do you win it, I think it's important to stress this, in her decision, which lasted, what, a half an hour for reading it, she basically said you won every single point, every single argument, every
I thought
single
she was
data
gonna
point,
even critique
and they
him
didn't
a
give,
little.
she gave nothing to
Nothing.
them, not one time.
Not
How do you
one time.
how do you feel about that? You just beat Kendrick Moxin doing on your own.
I so thought there was so much places for improvement. Every little detail that she would say, I would question that when she said she wasn't clear about the permits, I felt as though I didn't explain the permits enough and have it put in evidence. Because
and didn't show a permit.
yeah, well, but I didn't have any my video evidence because I didn't have transcripts with the videos. I didn't get any of my videos in, so she didn't see any of the real videos, like showing the complete opposite of what they're saying. So I had a lot of concern that I just made, as representing myself, that I made a mistake, and I made a mistake. I'll never make that mistake again. But now I had seen this is what happens on court though. Sometimes I had seen in court a bunch of times before judges looking at videos on the phone without transcripts. I saw it with my own eyes, but then for her specifically, it was different rules. And so you just have to be aware that just because there's like federal laws, state laws, county laws, township or city laws, even there's local court rule laws, but there's also courtroom specific to the judge rules. And so I had fun questioning the witness. I think that's the funnest part of the trial, is to be able to call someone out on the lies and they have to answer. And so that was amazing to be able to have him on the stand and to get the judge to laugh about the one security guard testifying that I destroyed his breakfast.
Yes.
And she laughed, and I knew, to me, that's one of the biggest things, is just to be very honorable in court and get people to laugh. You have to get the hearts and minds of people. And you get the hearts and minds of people with laughter and happiness, not by telling somebody or yelling at them. You could stir up the pot, but what we've been battling at the Blue Building has all been about easements. It's been about the ability, easements and permits of just the public property. And that is one of the most important things. And they don't know anything about law or the Constitution because that wasn't taught to them. And so it's just brainwashing that they're
protecting
all
brainwashing.
Victims. They're all victims, but also attackers. It's like this P. Diddy stuff with Usher and all these people. There's all these victims that become attackers eventually, and that's the thing with Scientology. It's very hard to get out of this MK Ultra brainwashing, styled after the brainwashing of the MK Ultra program. So
Do you think Moxon's a victim or
it's hard to say. It's hard to like completely say. Was his daughter killed under circumstances because something he did? Was he involved in that, knowing that she died? He didn't even attend her funeral. What father doesn't attend their funeral? How do you have a religion that you don't even go and attend your daughter's who died of an accident. You're a lawyer for a multi-billion-dollar organization, $1 million, and you can't even fly out and see your daughter's funeral?
Moxon has weaponized his law license continuously.
Yeah.
So what type of victim is he?
Yeah.
He knows what happens at the hotels. He has full access.
Yeah.
He read what the convicted felon pitched, L. Ron Hubbard.
He was
He
involved.
normalized it for all the kids.
Yeah.
It's law licenses that kept us child trafficked, that kept us abused by all the adults that did that. So Brian Moxon is no victim
Yeah.
because it's called you're an adult, you have the ability to choose, and the kids didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and Kendrick. Yeah. And
Kendrick.
and he was involved with the Shelly in Florida.
Lisa McPherson case.
He was involved in that.
But do you think he's a victim a little? I think that comes from a father who actually took care of their son and was with their son and talked to them. He doesn't. He gets nothing. Like, that's what pisses me off is I hesitated and I go, he did lose his daughter. He wasn't there for her. He put her in that situation. He put her in
Full
that
knowing.
situation.
Full
she
knowing.
had no voice. And now he's being the lawyer continuously over the last 35 years.
Defending another very young child. I mean, this guy was this guy's a young child. Like we have the same exact pattern. Nothing has changed.
Nothing
They're
has
still
changed.
targeting
They still-
children,
they
and no
still
one gives an
attack,
F.
And they send people through our restraining orders in court, and then right when they know, oh, I might lose here, they offer a deal, they offer another deal. Okay, 25 yards. It's just to get something on the record so that later they can totally fucking roll.
Yeah, and me and Danny are lucky. We still have Josiah. We still have Henry's case for the trespassing. We still have
Michael.
Who?
Michael.
Michael's case. We still have Nance Drew's case in Chicago. We have Selfless case and Pro Snappy. And Ashley in San Francisco also did restraining order.
One in Denmark, I believe, as well.
One in Denmark. I didn't even know about the Denmark one, but they're all fighting these cases still, and they're all a court case emotionally affects the very quote. The very quote. I want to read this quote because I think it's super important. The very essence of Scientology is to do exactly what they're doing to all these protesters. And
There's actually
L. Ron Hubbard to ruin them utterly.
And this is talking
Yeah,
about
everybody,
the
if you're
this is about what
not
Scientology
following
does to people
Audit,
no matter what,
be sure to
they
follow
try to
her
do.
and Fat
Yeah,
Granny.
this is from 1955 and 56. It said the purpose of the suit is to harass and discourage rather than win. The law could be used very easily to harass, and enough harassment on somebody who is simply on the thin edge anyway, well knowingly that he is not authorized, will generally be sufficient to cause professional decease. If possible, of course, ruin him utterly. And so
Ruin him
Do you feel that he
utterly.
tried to? They
I
tried
feel
to ruin you?
yes, and I feel like a lot of what I've gone through the last couple months has been from all the court cases, because this is not the only court case I had. I had two other arrests for disturbing a religious meeting, which I wasn't even booked or anything. They caged me, they brought me away. They went after my probation out in West Virginia, which they lost. That was the LAPD calling my probation officer for the illegal arrest, for the felony arrest I did 6 days in jail for pepper spray that Danny used protecting himself from an attacker from Lawful Bell. Chris.
10 days after being.
Yeah, and so we've all sustained injuries from protesting. I've had a black eye. You've had a broken nose. Chris lost a tooth. His hip. He was taken to the ground with the hip replacement or the hip surgery.
Yeah.
And so everybody who's been coming out and risking, like, just to be friends with us or even walk up to us and talk to us makes you a target from the internet and trolls. And it's hard to tell who the trolls are and who the actual Church of Scientology influenced trolls are.
Something big came from this case. People think a few big things happened, but I think one of the biggest things is that you got Jaden on the stand, and you got him to admit that it is his job. He's not volunteering, that it's his job. And by admitting that it's his job, he's protected by labor laws, California labor law, which means wage and whatnot. So you got him to admit that he gets about $50 a week. But you also got him to admit that this is his job. What do you think about that?
I think that's huge because that whole, I think a lot of the focus, the labor laws is something that there's such strong presences of unions who fight for labor laws. I think that could be one of the child auditing and the labor laws are, to me, what I think are like some of the pivot points to really dislodge Scientology because it's the law. It's $16 an hour. It's real simple. And they tried to dance, the security guard tried to dance around that. Well, what's the difference? Volunteer, my job, my volunteer. Well, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And that security guard testified that he was in OSA and that he was making $50, less than $50 a week, and working 70 hours a week. 70 hours. That's no overtime, no time and a half, no 2 times for Sundays, none of that. And so those transcripts from my case, from Danny's case, and your case are the foundation of some of the stuff. But there's other cases, and I have to become a little more familiar with the previous cases because Kendrick did the same accusation 2 years ago to a man that they ran a car into him. And that guy, he threw flyers out, said this is a cult, and the LAPD chased him down and put him in a cage for many months. And then Kendrick Moxin came to the public defender and made an offer that if he took the plea, that if he said that he watched Leah Remini's series and that influenced him to attack, that it would be dropped down to some, that would be the deal. And that was such an atrocity that lawyer made a bunch of complaints about that, and you can find it online.
Did they offer you a plea deal?
No, not at one time. I did ask after the judge found out that he had doctored the video. I asked him if he wanted to end this now, and Moxin, that's about the only thing I've said between them. He said, "Is that a threat?"
Is that a threat?
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel hearing the judge say today that his credibility was diminished greatly by evidence submitted that he edited and she didn't let in? Weren't you the one that caught
That made me feel really good because me, Serge, Laura, I forget who else was, Henry, we all called into the California Licensing Board. And I recommend if you guys all freely do the same and make those statements about Kendrick Moxin. We could go on the Zoom, you get a minute to tell your story. We all need to make complaints with details from Danny's case and my case.
So how do you explain that again?
So the California lawyer,
State Bar
Association has a meeting. They have meetings
Online.
and you could come in and have a public comment.
Yeah, we've been going on.
And so we've been doing the Zoom. Henry has been like handling that, and Audit LA have been both doing that. And so we need to do that because what Moxin did in both our cases is, again, it's unhonorable in the court. So we need to make things make noise about
Loud.
that.
And now the judge confirms it. Weren't you the one that caught it though? Like, weren't you the one that caught that he submitted editing? Didn't you bring up objection?
Yeah, me and her caught it.
Didn't you
Literally
bring up
on-
objection to the judge?
I brought up an objection
How did it
in
not
multiple
get it?
places, and she said if you wanted to testify to it,
Oh,
so I
okay.
testified to it. And
Thank
now Moxin, I didn't get to use any of my video evidence.
But she questioned him about that specifically because she asked him, "Has this video been edited?" He says, "Well, it's a long video and we can't show the
yeah,
whole thing."
well
And he also said, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the judge was like,
Well,
well, your knowledge
but
is
you
not.
fought him by
yeah, no, what he did was try to say that it was edited, but it was only clipped at the back or the front, not
Right.
in the middle.
But you clarified that over and over.
Yeah,
and
I
the judge,
clarified it numerous
And he tried
times.
to
And the
say-
judge made sure to clarify it with
Yeah.
him directly.
And
Yeah.
she dropped it.
And he admitted.
And so the only paperwork that I had on my
He tried to hide it by saying, well, it's a 5-hour-long video.
But she
Yeah.
finally got him to say, was something in the middle removed?
Yeah.
And he finally said yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that changed. That 40 seconds was Jaden getting in my face.
Yeah, all of that
Yeah,
going
and-
on. All James, William, whatever.
Yeah,
the-
James got right up in my face and
Get
said,
out of my face.
"You're trespassing.
They're all
You're on
following.
the sidewalk. You're
3
trespassing."
seconds.
And the police told you that we were allowed here in March and on Easter, and now you're doing the same thing again.
Yep.
That's what he cut out. That 40 seconds contained all that little language.
She made note of that today, that he was dishonest with his
Yeah.
presentation of evidence.
Yep.
And that's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
It's not just saying, okay, I just found what you're arguing was not credible.
That's what I thought she was going to do too. Like, I thought she was going to do a ruling and not give all those details.
She did.
And because she gave those details, man, that it's a story.
Well,
now.
it's a story,
yeah.
but also if he tried to appeal it, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna see that, and they're like, okay, this guy is, not only did he not have a case, but then he essentially manipulated evidence, and so it just makes it as appeal proof as
Yeah,
can possibly
and
be.
it makes it huge for all of us who are
For
involved,
everyone.
where Kendrick
Yes.
is
That's what I was
coming
gonna
into
say.
this.
He's not credible with this court.
Yeah,
For all the
but
protesters
the
out there,
conspiracy
too,
of
Yep.
it, the
Look,
conspiracy
like,
of it with the
listen to what happened.
Scientology and security, even in your case, yeah, even in your case where he went through the doors. And security was the ones that showed them the video.
Yeah.
He didn't even get to see the video. It was security showing the video to the police. It was a church pushing that. It was agents from that church trying to push that restraining order, push that illegal arrest. Because we both got, and what's crazy is we both got arrested. We did time in jail, and they tried to use both of those things against us over and over again, and things that were said in chat that we clearly said we didn't agree
She
with.
completely just threw that.
Yeah, she threw all that away.
She didn't
but,
want to hear anything
but,
about what
but
Travis
it is important to be wary of what's going on, because there's that it happened in Leon Valley, that James Freeman and Bao and all those auditors out there, they went for a press conference and allegedly someone put the police chief's address in the comments, and he arrested everybody because there was threats to the thing. So it's good to be aware of that in case you could get on top of that.
Guys, on October 10th, there's going to be a child trafficking lawsuit with Jane Doe in this courtroom. So be sure to come back
October
for
10th?
that. October 10th. there's
October
another
10th.
hearing for this.
So that's in a few days.
Yeah, there's an active child
Thursday.
trafficking
Okay.
court case
Perfect.
on
A
this.
couple days, yeah.
Well, she even said something about that, they didn't bring up video evidence on their side because they didn't have any. And then she's like, that's interesting because Scientology's got cameras everywhere.
Yeah,
Yes,
and at the end of the last trial, I was on the last day, but you specifically, on Dorothy's trial, she specifically told the same judge, zoom in, can you see that, judge? Can
Yeah.
you look? You see that very clear camera that is pointing directly at the whole scene.
Yeah.
And you would think that they wouldn't bring that footage. Scientology wouldn't bring
They
that
have cameras everywhere,
Yeah,
but yet they
everywhere.
didn't have
Yeah.
any of their own video evidence
But even
from
in
that
the exact
from the scene.
shot, even in Danny's footage on his YouTube,
Yeah,
they
he was
see
able to
the
get the
camera that could
testify,
zoom
and she was able to see
everything.
that.
Yeah, the only video they had was down the street, right? That they presented.
Yeah,
They
that
played
was-
That they
all the way
sped
across
up
the
and made it
street.
look like you
It
guys
looked
were.
like we were like hustling down. to
And
go
they
get
got halfway in that distance. They got the two cameras that look like lanterns right on the sidewalk.
Yep.
That would have gotten a beautiful view of
No, they
them.
have literally searched how literally 300
Well,
outside
and
cameras
Danny's
in
witness.
places that you would have no idea. It's probably legal.
Yeah,
illegally illegal.
Danny's witness said that he didn't even know that there was cameras out there, which was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yep.
To say that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the lady on Danny's thing, the
Fact, Grandma,
for the
when
judge to be
is
able to
that
see the
date? Do you know the date of that?
A internal, long-term.
Are you talking about the one Serge
Scientology
just mentioned?
Because she was like a robot, and she was like, oh yeah, before the restraining order, Danny or Scooter guy was able to go to and from work freely, da da da, and then once the restraining order,
Yeah.
we were scared, but or whatever, he wasn't scared anymore.
Yeah, no one was
So when
scared.
the judge literally said, oh okay, so
They didn't restrict your access.
there was they didn't stop you, and you were able to come to and from. And Danny's been doing this since January.
Campos
She said,
is-
how long have you been doing this?
Camp was so scared he was laughing when he was coming out of the courtroom the other day. He was sure was laughing.
And the judge, thank you to everyone who came. Like, even if it's just for 15 minutes, that judge recognized that this was a matter of public interest with the amount of people in the audience. So just remember this court support. It seems like everyone, there's this momentum that's growing with the court support.
When 15, 20 people show up over here
Yeah.
together, it's quite a scene.
And
It's unusual.
Yeah.
it's very diverse group of people. It's very
and I don't
diverse.
know if you know, before you came
Oh,
in,
yeah,
he
they-
brought you up
you br-
tried before it even started.
Oh, yeah.
Judge,
He brought
I
you
would
up
like to
saying
say
that
there's
you
a-
harassed him
Yeah,
and
you
was
were
attacking
assaulting,
threats against him
assault,
about going to
threats,
his house,
and that you
and he
were
wanted
going
an
to-
extension on
Yeah.
the case.
You want
And then
extension
she
because
said-
of things I
Yeah,
did.
he's
At the
being
court
yeah.
That's what
I
she
told
said.
him that I told him I bought his name, which I did.
Yeah, that's what he
Yeah,
said.
yeah, he said
I
that.
bought his
And her
website.
response was, her response,
I do.
yeah,
I own the name.
and her response
For the
was,
next billion
Mox and
years."
I'm here today. She said, my only thing here today is to do the verdict.
Listen, guys, I own
She
Kendrick.
literally was like, I don't care.
I own Kendrick.
She said, and anything that doesn't happen in my courtroom, everything, if it's not in my courtroom,
It doesn't
I
matter.
own Kendrick-Moxin.com, and we're going to talk about how he abuses the legal system to help the Church of Scientology and to go after the Church of Scientology's critics, how he manipulates evidence.
Yeah.
It's important that we warn the community, right?
Yeah.
So he can go, if he wants to, Kendrick, go right back into that building, go try to get a TRO against me. I love that. Please. Nothing
Yeah.
changed. You have the right to own your name and warn the public about you. So yeah, they try to bring it to your case. Like it has that. Like
Had
that's
nothing to
trying
do with it, right.
Trying to stop it, I was like, oh my god.
I know,
was like,
right?
if this doesn't
That's
end
what I'm
today,
saying, no.
I'm just gonna pass out right now.
Exactly, right? Oh my God, right?
Anxiety.
But the
and,
association stuff, they try to do
Yeah,
that with
they
86
do that.
GOP. They try to do with everybody that you, when you're there, and they did with your case, where you had to own Denver, anything that Denver J said, you have to own that,
Yeah.
which is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, you have agency
Yeah,
over
Laura
yourself.
Scully broke
You're
that.
responsible for what you do and not what somebody else did.
Yeah.
Not what I said outside here has nothing to do with what you did with Jaden's case.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I have one question.
But it was funny.
One question. Are you ready for Blue Building?
I am ready for the blue
Are
building.
you going to Blue Building tonight?
Yeah, yeah,
So they can expect you tonight, huh?
yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do barbecue.
Neighborhood barbecue, all are welcome.
Yeah.
We're going to be feeding the homeless and
Lord.
protesting Scientology.
Don't flip the weenies. Don't flip what time
What are the chances the police are called tonight?
Zero.
I don't know.
They'll be called whether they want to.
Yeah.
Do you think, here's a question, do you
make the
think
right
now
decision or
that
not?
the police are starting to learn, like, okay, this shit is going
I think
nowhere?
a little
Do you
bit.
think they're gonna be a little bit more, I don't want to use the term lenient, but do you think that they're going to come to
No.
their aid as much as
No,
Be on the
no,
right side of the
but
law.
and no, and I think that we also this whole
Be on the
CDT
right
thing
side of
going
the
on.
law.
That
all
should be
we're
a
asking.
focus. You have a grown man threatening to rape one of the protests, a minor. You have Lawful Bell bringing out arrest things on pictures shown at the minors, but more so, Tony, he needs to be arrested for violating that restraining order, and I think that there's going to be some heavy pushing on some of the authorities to make that happen.
It's already at the
because
prosecutor's office.
he's already admitted to a lot of these swatting calls, and I believe that
really?
he's been behind a vast majority of those, and I think that's put a lot of us in danger. I've been at gunpoint about 7 times this year, which is very. When you have a little red dot and a little green dot on your head, that's a scary thing. And the FBI refused to take. They said that they didn't deal with swatting, but you can go online and look at the FBI
Okay, Pat Graham.
on virtual on the internet.
Go tear 'em apart.
Cybersecurity, and it says that they take care of swatting, but they won't even have us in the door to talk about that. What?
So the Solomon
Virtual
Solomon exact.
Yeah, and Solomon has it's defined in that restraining order that there can't be any like swattings, and so there's some gray area of when calling the police and filing a misreport and what is a swatting, you know, and I don't know the answer to that, but it's become very dangerous, and it's clear who one of the people or the group of people are that are doing that, and so the city attorney needs to get on that and prosecute and arrest this man, because there's literally tens of thousands of dollars being used for these false police calls, and they're putting everybody in danger.
Do you think you have PTSD from everything you've been
Absolutely,
through?
absolutely. I hear a siren and my heart just
Yep.
pumps.
I'm right there with you.
I'm terrified. And they attacked Michael, and they also attacked Denver J. When they arrested him, they scratched his eye.
Yeah.
And so, and there's been so much. And so, like, we really need to focus on who the real officers are in both the Northeast Division and Hollywood Division, and try to weed them out some way.
Is
I
it true
think
that somebody
there are-
hissed at you the other day?
Yes, the Welsh King, some Welsh King defending the Magic Castle, who I forget his name. The magician. Stan Gerson.
Oh.
Yeah, Stan Gerson's
OT8 magician.
OT8 magician.
That has a membership at the Magic Castle.
Yep, and he's playing
At the
with
Blue
the
Building.
Blue Building coming up
When?
this month.
October,
Yeah, this month, and Pasadena this weekend or next weekend. So it's I think that we could put the pressure on the Magic Castle to disassociate
With
from
Stan Gerson,
from
OT8
from Stan
Scientology.
Gerson,
Fucking
just like
complicating.
Scientology disassociates from family and friends. Try it out.
Yeah,
You know,
try it.
disassociate from this person.
Disconnection.
And I think that we could get enough noise out there to make them pressured into doing that.
October 19th.
Or for him to at least
Stan
retire.
Gerson protested October 19th at the Blue Building.
Why do you suppose
doing
he
a
wanted
kid
to
magic
delay
show.
the ruling today?
Because he specifically said it. He wanted it was for the restraining order.
Yeah,
He wanted me to not have that for the
day for
restraining
court is a
order.
month.
But why? Do you think it would have been for, say, a
Just
week, 3 weeks, whatever?
Another week for me not to be at the Blue Building.
Every day matters,
Yeah.
right? Every day?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
I
that's
mean, we
why
had
it's
what
so
we had.
important. We're going to barbecue.
Yeah, what we had there, what we had going there was amazing. We had so many people coming. There was a lot of people watching the live streams, and they sliced that, and they sliced that, and it was such a lot. It was so amazing, and the judge them talking about the sanitation products that Danny and Leah were put together for
You
the
did bring that
homeless.
up. I thought that was-
They brought that up. And,
Well, no, I think that's important to bring up because when you were talking about handing out sanitation products to homeless people, Kendrick Moxin says that's not protesting.
yeah,
That's not protesting.
Feeding the homeless
Are you
is not
kidding me?
protesting.
yeah.
And it was pretty
It
condescending.
was so
Yeah.
gross how he tried to say, do you know, and as Bob was saying, do you know how much the church donates to the homeless? And I wanted you to be like, you don't. You launder it into fake companies, and it only benefits you. You don't give money to the homeless. You never do. In fact, that would be
But
degrading.
he did open the
These
door for
homeless
me
people are
to
degrading.
say why I protest Scientology.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and that was.
And what did you say?
That it was a human trafficking organization. They separate families, children abuse, sexual abuse,
And they treat the homeless like
and they treat
shit.
the homeless like they're not humans.
Yep.
That's what he said. Yep.
Exactly.
We have the whole live stream.
And so, like barbecuing and doing this, it pisses it. Look, the only way Scientology, it's literally protesting. The only way Scientology is going to come out of their evil
Shell.
little hidden shell of evil
Yep.
is by exposing them. Well, look at what they do when you feed the homeless around their buildings. Invite the homeless. They literally have a security guard on duty, kicking out the homeless no matter what. Doing stuff that, and here they are, Way to Happiness book as their first little thing, or a personality test. Well, why don't you help the people right in front of your face? If you can't help the people right in front of your face, how the fuck are you going to help people that live in the outside world, that are going through life, that have trauma, that have like, so they're just full of shit. They don't. All the money they say they put it, no, they don't. They put it into their own Way to Happiness foundations and call that giving to the homeless because they're giving Way to Happiness books out to the homeless. Like, the fucking, what the fuck does that do?
What's
Or
that
like
go-
going
how's
to
that
the
gonna help
hockey
them,
games
right.
Or the basketball games with their you know, Photoshop their own personal version of the Way to Happiness book. All it is to do is to get people into the organization of Scientology. Once they're in the organization, then they can be corrupted. Then they can slowly be hypnotized. That's literally what you're doing with the glam and the building and oh, look at us and our smiles and come in and oh, the next step is this and go into this film and it's all robotic. Like even the lady that came up as after Scooter guy couldn't even whatever, like speak or whatever on the stand. He had his
Significant
partner
other.
come, and she literally was like, "Hi, yes, absolutely."
she's like an AI
Everything's
character.
fine.
She didn't seem real. I
It
gotta
was
be honest
just
with you.
so bad. I was like, good, let the judge see this. So, yeah, we have to get them out of their behavior.
Oh, that's how
And
she
so that might be a little bit hard to do. And sometimes we might have to say, you
Literally
pushy got
have
the butt to wake people the fuck up out of their hypnotic state.
They're
That
just a
might
bunch
be-
of handlers. They
Yeah.
just have all these handlers on people to.
Hey! This is the song that
Right? Exactly.
Jaden tried to say Scott was being sexual with toward him.
Question his
That
sexuality.
was weird. That was weird. I was like, is somebody possibly gay that doesn't want to even go there at all?
That's funny.
Dang, Jaden, and I feel bad for Jaden. He's 21. He was
Wow,
like,
you just
I didn't
hear
know about
this,
all
you
this. He was
guys,
just
and
that
it's
before
just the love and compassion with the protesters here on the street, doing the work, making a difference. We've hit a whole new era with this, and I appreciate for that everybody's here supporting us and just standing behind us. And it was really beautiful. A lady came all the way from Redding, California, and she's been watching the protesters, and she came all the way down today just to be here for the verdict. And she said that she went to one of their fairs there in Redding, and lo and behold, who was there? Scientology passing out their little pamphlets, and she sat there, and every time a person would get one, she would grab it out of their hand and say Scientology is a cult. And then they try to get the security people there to have her removed from the thing, and they said no, she's doing her First Amendment right. But it's just those little things. It's like what you guys are doing out there, that we don't even know you're doing like this is just so beautiful, and it just makes a difference that everybody's here together. We're all working together to take down this cult and to bring justice for not just the protesters, but for the kids. The kids that are in there, the kids can't consent, and we need to get them out, and that's our whole goal, is to break this down and bring the awareness to the federal government to be able to declassify them as a church, revoke their tax exempt, and get the kids out of Scientology. If the adults want to stay in there, hey, stay in there, have at it, have fun.
That's what the manager testified.
Wow, what another victory, what another beautiful. It's just beautiful, you guys. I'm so happy to be
The
here.
manager came and testified because I asked him, did he go to a doctor? No. Did he go to a psychiatrist? No. He said that he judged his mental state based on the amount of cigarettes he smoked.
Yeah,
And couldn't
that's what
quantify.
she said, because your evidence was, she was reading and she was like, you didn't give sufficient amount of evidence as to the long-term harm that there's something that Mr. Hochstetter did that would have, prolonged your
Audit LA. Thank you, Audit.
And he
Thank you for
literally
doing all that
said,
foundation work,
and
Audit.
your only defense for that was you started smoking more, and you were slightly upset, and what did she say? And so gross. It's
So gross.
Just so gross.
Parentheses.
I love how she mimicked how even this 21-year-old who's supposed to be a security guard can't even speak the words of somebody being slightly aggressive. How the fuck are you going to be a security guard?
Super gross.
Like,
feeling.
yeah. And that he's the one filing the restraining order when he doesn't even know, who's what. Same with the scooter guy. Didn't even know. Fucking Moxin was calling Danny his own client's name. Mr. Campos. Or what was he saying? He was calling him.
And we also got the security guard to put that they were pouring concrete on they were doing foundation work on a 5-6 story residential building.
That's exactly what they were doing.
In a hotel
during that.
And without permits. He testified to that. So I also think that's
Hotel
Wow,
without
do you hear that,
permit.
audit?
story.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry.
So
Hotel.
isn't it when things are done without permits, it has to be all taken
There's a
down?
hidden hotel
Sometimes.
right across the blue building.
Because I know they're also
With
working
foundations.
on. Well, now we'll be able
I
to
know
see
those
it.
planters
You'll be
need to
able
go.
see
Yeah,
it.
yeah, no,
I haven't. Video, like, look
I
at
haven't
the
seen all the
construction work
planters.
they're doing
And
there
when
without permits.
when I came to LA, I was like, well, we need more life. We need more trees and plants, more permaculture, and we got it at the Blue Building. I didn't think
They're
it would be
working
a
on
bunch
it
of
step by
planters,
step.
but the Celebrity Center also has a whole bunch of new landscaping in the easements. So
Scott should have that
I think
tonight.
everyone from all over the place who are out protesting and,
I'll
and
ask.
just be careful and learning a little bit about the law
Or you-
is,
you got
is really
contact with them.
valuable when protesting, just to have an understanding of some of the processes. Because
Yeah, reach out to DOA.
I've learned a lot just watching Solomon's case. I actually
Yep.
read the declaration by the server yesterday. Fascinating little declaration, and how she got them Tony served via Twitter. And
You read my opposition, right? I gave you it.
Yeah, I read the whole thing last night actually.
Next time we're gonna get you a longer time.
Yeah.
And also, we're gonna
Not
get
good with the
that
time.
transcript.
I don't dress up much.
Look, guys.
No, it was-
nobody
I think it
noticed.
was-
And you didn't notice either.
Oh, that
I
thing's
wore my
cool.
elephant, and his tie has elephant.
Ah.
Elephant power.
No, I think the portioning was wrong.
Hey.
Hey, you know what? It was
I was-
perfect. DOA,
I
it was
was-
perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Ginger apple. Open the gate.
My paralegal
She
was
wore it
working.
all.
That's why I have no makeup on. All in my hair, right when we were leaving my apartment, going in the van, I was like,
Yeah.
I was really like drenched,
I was so
like, hair
anxious.
stained all over. And
I was so
like, thank
anxious.
God
I
got
knew
the shirt.
I was winning, but I couldn't get that
Well,
anxiety
let me
out.
ask you a question
Right,
about that,
right,
right?
yeah,
Because you probably thought beforehand, how am I going to feel when I win? Is it exactly how you thought it would feel? You feel relief? You feel happiness?
And the relief comes in waves.
It's
Like,
waves.
I
It's
didn't wanna
waves.
turn
How
around.
about any anger? Any anger about having to go through all this?
No, because every court experience that I've gone through has made me so much stronger and better at standing up for my rights. And a lot of it has been awful. Spending time in jail, going in this jail here at the Twin Towers, it's nasty. 6 weeks there.
Was it worth it?
Michael did it. Like,
Was it worth it?
it was in the long run, yes. At the time, it was like the biggest nightmare in the world, and I wouldn't wish that upon. I wouldn't even wish that. I
Definitely,
don't wanna wish
Marina.
that upon
Anyone.
Yeah. There's I made a quote at the California Bar Association, and it's, you could judge a society by the way they treat their prisoners, and we have a far way to go from how we treat, especially pre-trial convictions. When you have not been accused, and the other day when you came to the Magic Castle and they tried to do a double PDA, that shit has to stop. You can't be attacked by somebody and be threatened to be thrown in jail because someone attacked you and not look at evidence. They did that to us a bunch of times at La Poubelle, and to see that that's a common practice of the LAPD. That's
Well, let me ask you a question. You're talking about the LAPD. At this courthouse, we've been dealing with the sheriff's department. Do you notice the difference between how they treat Scientology protesters versus how the LAPD, specifically the LAPD Hollywood and LAPD Northeast Division?
the sheriffs always seem to be a little more professional than like city police. Because city police are always in the major cities, that they're a little more thuggish than the sheriffs, and the sheriffs are voted in, whereas your city officers are appointed.
Do you feel that they were sympathetic towards?
I think that we have the judicial system. The judicial system is behind us and the people, and that's how it should be. And I feel like that Scientology doesn't have their fingers. And there's been previous cases where judges have talked about the Scientology during the Jane Doe's cases, the Danny Matheson case, of them threatening.
Oh, I can tell you this morning, emails were sent out talking specifically about this. You may have received a copy of them, talking about how anonymous emails saying people need to reach out to Judge Scully because what she's doing is wrong. What she did in Danny's case is wrong, and it's a bad precedent. They need to be held accountable. That went out this morning.
Yeah, it was almost threatening.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was almost threatening to the judges.
Yes.
That like we're coming after the judges now because the judges are screwing over the people.
Yeah.
But
So
that judge was so fair. She was so fair. And she yelled at, I mean, she put everyone in place that needed to be put in place.
Even you.
To keep her.
Yeah, I got
even
yelled at, but it
Streets
was
got
really
yelled
just-
at.
yeah.
And Dorothy got yelled at a few times.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you think that the judges are afraid of fair game by Scientology? Or do you think they're past that too?
You know what?
I-
They're in the past, we've had events, huge Scientology events, where one of the wins was, and the judge, not only, they do the whole speech, they literally are saying the judge was on our side, and we got the judge to do this. And it's so we were always so feared, and everybody in the outside thinks, oh, well, Scientology just gets everything. They just destroy everybody's life.
Well, it's not happening now.
This is the first time that I personally have been on a fucking case where I'm literally like, they're full of shit. The judge is the judge. The judge is gonna see something and say how it is. Of course we win.
Thank you,
we're
Ann.
winning but the PTSD is that we've been told that we were never gonna be supported by the legal system. But actually the legal system has strict laws. It has very strict
The laws on our side.
And Scientology is
The laws
breaking
on our
Church
side.
says
so
it all the
many
time.
of those. Scientology is breaking so many of those laws that it's amazing to have seen Danny, all these, yours, with the other lawyer that was going, not even just with Moxin, to see them all going, they don't have their fucking fingers in the legal system, and that's finally one thing they don't really. They lie and
At
say
least in
they
this-
do,
in this
but
courthouse, they
They've
don't.
only
And-
had it with money, and now you
There's
can't
3 different
fucking
judges
buy
we've
shit
gone
with
through.
money
We've gone
without
through
being exposed.
Kaufman, Scully, and in your case, Ochoa, who have shot down Scientology and Scientology interests.
Yeah, and there's going to be more stuff. You got Henry here, and Henry's going to go through all this. Same with Josiah. And so don't think that those judges aren't talking and that there aren't some rumors and everything. And I
The
really
problem
think
there, though, is Heidi, because in both those cases, as far as that's a city attorney.
Yeah.
What's her issue? I know I saw a video of her last night. She was drunk at some ceremony. She's got some problems.
Well,
I think it's time to start holding
I think-
Heidi Feldstein Soto accountable.
I agree. We have to put pressure where the pressure needs to be, and I think that's the pivot point, the foundation of what's going on.
She's prosecuting Henry.
Yeah.
So you're talking about all these people that George Gascon. Your case got rejected when it was a felony, right? By Gascon.
Yeah.
Your case was rejected by Gascon
Michael's case was rejected and sent to the city.
and sent to the
office,
city
too.
attorney.
So-
Where they're stringing it along.
Yeah.
So there's a.
So
I
it's
will
a
say
city
this.
attorney.
Well, listen, Gascon's up for re-election.
Wait.
You guys should think about that.
Can-
You want to be protesting out here. Gascon seems to be protecting protesters from Church of Scientology's misuse of the system. Need to maybe support him a little bit in the election coming up, but also start holding Heidi Feldstein Soto accountable to drop your case, to drop Henry's case, and to enforce the restraining order with Solomon.
Yeah, and so could you explain the difference between what positions?
So city attorney, so the district attorney handles felonies, and he handles it on the county-wide. City attorney only handles misdemeanors, and it's only in the city of Los Angeles. So if we go over here to East LA, that's an unincorporated area. That's everything handled over there is either handled by their local courts, or if it's a felony, by Gascon. So Heidi Feldstein Soto only represents the city of LA as opposed to the county of LA, and only handles misdemeanors. The thing about it is it could be abusive, right? Because the city attorney can string things along. She doesn't necessarily, she can bring the charges, and she can kind of keep these things going on for a year, or she can even, if she has your phones and they have your phone,
Yeah.
they can hold them for up to a year.
They have your phone?
No, they don't.
You're lucky.
No, because I told, yeah.
Yeah. You gotta-
Well, that one police officer, the girl, she was like so nice with me because she's like, they were pushing the other officer off of me at one point, and she's like, where do you want your phone to go?
She
And
seemed to
and
be a
I
good
said,
cop.
I handed it right to you. She was a
Whereas
good
with
cop.
Your phones, if they seize it, even if the case is rejected by the DA, the city attorney can investigate it for up to a year, even if they don't plan on actually bringing in charges. It's just to, like I said, take you through the whole process, take you through the ride.
Yeah.
They're taking your phones through
Yeah.
the ride.
And those phones being taken, I still haven't recovered accounts because of that.
So what?
And taking both my phones and my computer at one time, that
Guys, when you
That-
protest, most importantly, back up your phones.
yeah.
Back them up. Additionally, don't use face to unlock.
Yeah.
Don't use a fingerprint to unlock it. Use a passcode, because otherwise, it's,
interesting.
they can come up to you when they arrest you and put it right in front of your face and unlock it.
Beautiful.
You know?
That's
that's a-
great
yeah.
So
advice.
you need to
good advice.
protect. I mean, listen. Right now in New York City, the mayor over there, he's been indicted and stuff. But they seized one of his phones when he got arrested, and they've been unable to unlock it. He claims that he changed it right before he got arrested and forgot the passcode. So it's not necessarily easy for them to get into your phone. So
Beautiful.
You damn sure don't want to make it easy for them. But also back up your phone because you don't want to lose access to accounts and
Yeah.
stuff. Make sure these things are duplicated elsewhere. Make sure your bank account and whatever else, your Cash Apps, your Venmos, or anything that's important is backed up elsewhere. You know, if you have an iPhone, back it up to the cloud, but make sure, because your phone can be taken at any time,
Yep.
and it can be held for up to a year for
I-
small things.
I thought for sure I was going to lose my phone.
It's
Yep.
the worst.
Yeah.
I had them take 2 of my phones, and then not only that, then they get access to your phones, they get a search warrant for it, and then you just feel violated because they're
Totally,
What they
totally.
do is they don't just go into your phone; they download an entire copy of your phone.
And then they just sit there and just,
And then they can have access to, they can give you your phone back at that point because they have a whole complete copy.
yep, beautiful. Thank you.
All right.
Well, DOA,
Congratulations,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone, for coming.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah.
beautiful. Yay! Love you.
Love you too, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So guys, once again, this is number 3 for the week with DOA, and
Here in LA.
we have Solomon.
Oh, it's Josiah has
How do you feel about your case?
Good. You know, he says he wants to appeal it. I'll say go right ahead. What are you gonna appeal it based on what?
First comment.
Right. Beautiful.
I mean, the judge will have to do something.
He could just go in there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I see that guy every day.
Yeah.
And he- I can
Beautiful,
tell
beautiful. And then we have that was number 1. Danny was number 2. Danny, how do you feel today?
Really good.
How long did it take you to get off of that moment of her cutting your case?
They would have dropped it right then anyway.
A couple hours, really.
Really? Okay.
Right after the case on Friday, we went to go eat. We went home.
Well, you
I
are.
sat on the
Nike
couch and
and
I
Nike.
completely fell asleep.
I bet you just like poof, gone. Well, you were number 2, so congratulations. Yay, yeah. Love you guys. And love you for all your support that I know what this support is right here, so I can only imagine. Okay, let me close out. Okay, guys, we are out of here for the day. Once again, thank you all for joining us today. Be sure to tell your friends to watch this and pass the link on. Share the link with many friends, because the more people we get activated in understanding what's going on with Scientology, the quicker we're going to be taking them down. And once again, I'll be doing a live here in the next few days. I just didn't want to do anything during DOA's case or Danny's case, hearing and all that. So I'll be here quickly to share some information with you and where we are today with my case. Okay, guys, I love you all. Thank you for all of your wonderful support, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.